Question 25. A binary operation delta is defined on all positive integers as x delta y is simply 3x minus 4y. Find the value of, open a bracket, 2 delta minus 2 delta, open bracket, minus 1 delta 4. This is binary operation, and it's one of the simplest things you can see in mathematics, because the direct substitution, however, it can be tricky. So let's do justice to this. We have the binary operation, and it is what? X delta what? Y, and it's given as 3x minus 4y. So this is just the relationship between x and y anytime the delta appears. So the question says we should look for the value of what? 2 delta minus 2 delta what? Delta minus 1 delta 4. Here is going to be 2 delta minus 2, means we go back to our formula and put x equals to 2 and y equals to minus 2. So I start up with 2 delta minus 2. It's simply going to be what? 3. Instead of writing x, I put 2. So times 2 minus 4 times minus 2, because minus 2 represents y in this formula. So it's going to be what? It's going to be 6 plus 8, and this simply what? 14. So my 2 delta minus 2 is 14. We go again, minus 1 delta 4 is going to be 3 into, instead of writing x, I still write what? Minus 1. I close the bracket, minus 4 delta, that is 4 times 4, and this is going to be minus 3 times minus 16, and this simply what? Minus 19. So we have the solution for the first bracket, we have the solution for the second bracket, and we combine them together, we operate them in a binary mode. So the operation is going to be what? 14 delta minus 19, and this is going to be 3 into what? 14 minus 4 into what? Minus 19, and this is simply going to be 3 times 14 is what? Is 42 minus 4 times 19, minus minus will be what? Plus. So I simply say 4 times 19, which is what? 76. When I add this together, plus 42, and this is going to give me what? 118. So the solution is what? 118. Alright, so question 26 is here for us. Let's read through the question. For an arithmetic sequence, the first term is 2 and the common difference is 3. Find the sum of the first 11 terms. So we have an arithmetic sequence, which you also know as what? Arithmetic progression. That is what? An AP. So we're told that the first term, which is A, is given as 2, and the common difference, which is D, is given as 3. So we're to look for the sum of the first 11 terms. So we're looking for sum of 11 terms. It means here n is going to be what? 11. So we have two ways of going through this. Well, let's go the first way. The first way is to use this formula Sn equals n over 2 into bracket 2a plus n minus 1 d, and you close the brackets. So with this, let's slot in our value scale. So we're going to have it 11 by 2 into bracket 2 multiplied by 2 plus 11 minus 1 multiplied by 3, we close the bracket. It is going to be 11 by 2 equals to, beg your pardon, open bracket 4 plus, this becomes 10 times 3, and that is simply what? 30. And we have 11 by 2 multiplied by 34, and this 2 goes there, 1, 2 goes there, it's what? 17. So we're going to look at what? Our 11 multiplied by 17, and the answer is what? 187. So the answer here is what? 187, which is option B. However, you can go the other way. Which other way? Let's find the 11th term and we use the other formula. So the 11th term is going to be what? C11, which you know that you can have it as what? A plus n minus 1 multiplied by D. and in this case C11 is going to be A, which is 2 plus N11 minus 1 multiplied by 3, and this is 2 plus 10 times 3, and this is what? 32. So my level 10 is what? 32. So I use this formula. Tn is what? N over 2 into bracket A plus L, and this time around the last term is going to be your 11th term. Let's see whether we're going to arrive at the same answer again. Tn is going to be what? 11 over 2 open bracket A, which is the first term, is 2 plus what? 32, which was our last term, and that is the 11th term. And obviously, as you can see, we are still going to arrive at the same answer. 2 goes here, 1, 2 goes here, 17. And we can see this is still going to be what? 187. Any which way you like, you're still going to arrive at the same answer. Alright, we go to the next question. So the next question is what? 27. In a class of 40 students, 32 offer mathematics, 24 offer physics, and 4 offer neither of mathematics nor physics. How many offer both subjects? And this has to do with what? Our Venn diagram problem, which you all know. So let's see how we'll go about this again. And you still remember your De Morgan's theorem. So we're going to make use of the De Morgan's theorem, and that is the fastest way of solving this problem. So we have the class, the total number of students in that class is what? Is 40. So the number of the universal sets, we call it as total number of students in that class, and that's going to be what? Our 40. So 40 is that, and then we're told that 32 offer mathematics. So you say number of n for mathematics. So let's just put it at that, and this is going to be what? 32. And 24 offer what? Physics. N of what? P for physics, and that is what? 24. 4 people I have offered neither mathematics nor physics. What you simply do, you write it this way: N of what? P intersection M, that's physics and maths, prime, or you put complement. Those are the students who do not offer either of mathematics or physics. And we go, don't forget the formula is what? Is there is something that there is somebody that must offer both physics and maths. So we call them what? Number of P intersection M. And these are the unknown. However, this is what B is for according to the question. So let's see how it works. Number of the universal sets is what? Number of what? Mathematics plus number of physics plus minus number of people that did the both. So number of P intersection M, then plus number of people that were never part of the student that offer either of mathematics or physics. So we will write P intersection M prime, and that is our De Morgan for this kind of what? Situation. And we go, our n number of universal is what? Is 40. So we simply write 40 equals to mathematics is what? 32 plus 24 minus this one. This is what we are looking for. So I simply write this number of P intersection M, then I write plus what? Plus 4. With this, I can bring my P intersection M to this side and bring 40 to the other side. So bring this to my left hand side. So I have N number of P intersection M, which are the people that are offering both physics and what? And mathematics. Is going to be what? 32 plus 24 is what? 56. 56 plus 4 is what? Is 60. And that's going to be what? 60. Then this 40 is coming here, it becomes what? Minus 40. And you can see that is what? 20. Those are the number of students that are offering both physics and mathematics. And we look at our options, the right one is what? Option D. So we go to the next question. Alright, question 28 says, ice forms on the refrigerator ice box at the rate of 40 minus 0.6 gram per minute after 10 minutes. If initially there are 2 grams of ice in the box, find the mass of ice formed in 5 minutes. So this is literally a kind of, it's either you call it a decay problem or what, a kind of you can call it decomposition problem or composition problem. Something is forming at a rate, so it's a kind of rate of change problem. So let's see how that works again. So we have ice being formed at the rate of what? 4 T for time, and this time around in minutes, minus 0.6, all in gram per what? Per minute. So we had that what? After 10 minutes, that was the formula. So if initially there were what? 2 grams of ice. So at time t equals to 0, what was our, that was initially. So we had how many? We have mass of ice equals to what? Equals to 2 grams. However, what happens after 5 minutes? After 5 minutes, we'll use this formula to say mass of ice after 5 minutes. We simply put t equals to 5 into this equation given to us, and with that we're going to get that, and that's going to be 4 times 5 minus 0.6 gram. Simply putting t into this problem, and that is going to be 20 minus 0.6 in gram, and this is simply going to be what? This is going to be 19.4 gram, and this is what happens after what? After 5 minutes. It's not the correct option because there were 2 grams of ice in the box originally. So our total number of what? Ice. Total number of ice is going to be the initial plus what we have after 5 minutes. So total mass of ice is going to be 19.4 plus 2, and this is going to be what? 21.4 gram, and that is going to be C. Option C is the correct option. Next question. And in our next question, you see 5 people are to be arranged in a row for a group photograph. How many arrangements are there? If a married couple in the group insists on sitting next to each other, it's possible that you want to have some photograph and there is an arrangement that is to be made, but there is these 2 couples that are insistent on sitting next to each other. How many arrangements does that mean? And that is what brings us to what? Combination and permutation. In this case, it is simply what? A combination problem. And let's see how that is done. Alright, so here we have number of people, that is 5, and we want to arrange them for a photograph, so it has to just be in a row. But 2 couples are saying they want to be insistent on what? Sitting next to each other. Then we say 5 combination 2. Please, if there was no case of a couple sitting next to each other, so that be what? 5 combination 0, which is as the same thing as what? Permutation of 5. So this time around is going to be what? 5 combination 2. And don't forget that n combination r is given as what? N factorial over n minus r factorial, then r factorial. So we have to slot in that and get what happens. So it's going to be what? 5 combination 2 is going to be 5 factorial over 5 minus 2 factorial 2 factorial. And this is going to be 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 all over. This is going to be 3 factorial, which is what? 3 times what? 2 times 1 times 2 factorial is what? Simply 2 times 1. That's it. So let's see. 3, 2, 1 goes down and 2 goes there. This is 2. And 5 times 2 is going to be what? 10. So there are only 10 ways which this can be achieved. And the right option here is going to be D. Our next question. Alright, our next question says a student has 5 courses to take from mathematics and physics. There are 4 courses in mathematics and 3 in physics, which he can choose from at will. In how many ways can he choose his courses so that he takes exactly just 2 courses in what? In physics. This is still a combination scenario, but this time around it has to cut across a kind of case where you have to choose some optional courses or some elective courses. So in this case, we see how it works. He has a condition given to him either by his department or by himself. Says at least he has to offer 2 courses from the physics department. However, there were how many present? 3. And he can, if he's taking 2 from physics, then he has to take the remaining 3 from mathematics, because the total he can take is what? 5. Let's see how that is done again. And this case, it is going to be out of 4 courses in mathematics, you can take 3. So it has to be 4 combination 3 multiplied by, out of how many courses in physics? 3 courses in physics. He can take how many? He can take just 2. He can take just 2. So it has to be 3 for physics combination what? Combination 2. And this result is going to be our final result. And let's see how it works. This the same way with the previous question. This is going to be 4 factorial all over 4 minus 3 factorial multiplied by 3. Alright, multiplied by 3 factorial. Then here is going to be 3 factorial all by 3 minus 2 factorial. Then what? 2 factorial. And here we're going to have it as 4 factorial, 1 factorial, 3 factorial, multiplied by 3 factorial, 1 factorial, 2 factorial. And here is going to be what? 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 all by 1 times 3 times 2 times 1 times 3 times 2 times 1 all by 1 times 2 times 1. And we see this 3 goes up and this 2 goes up. And we are left with what? 4 here multiplied by what? 3. And this is what? 12. Meaning this is only achieved just in 12 different ways. So our right option is going to be option B. Next. Alright, question 31 says change 71 in base 10 to a number in base 8. And not a problem. We've solved a base problem today, and you know how it works. So we simply write out our 71. So we're going to have our 71 in base 10. So every number exists as base 10 unless otherwise stated. So we just go and divide by what our new base we want to bring it to. Don't forget, there should be always a column for what? For the remainder. And we begin. We say 8 goes in 71. It is 64. So 64, that is 8 times. 8 times 64 is going to be what? Oh, yeah, 64 minus 71 is going to remain that what? 7. And this time around, 8 goes in 8 is just 1, no remainder, so I put 0 on my remainder column. And 8 goes in 1 is impossible, so I put 0 and return the what? The 1 here. So my answer, don't forget, I read up. So it's going to be 107 in base what? In base 8. So I prefer to write my 8 in figure so that I mean in letters or in alphabet so that I don't miss them. So the correct option is what? Is option A. Next question. Alright, our next question says our next question says if 9 raised to power x minus half equals to 3 raised to power x, then we should find the value of x. And this is what? An Indicial equation problem. It's an equation that is in the index form. So how do we solve this kind of scenario? We look at it and we see this 9, we see this 3. There is a correlation between 9 and 3. Yes, think of it. Because 3 raised to power 2 is 9. So they have a correlation. So I'm not going to express 9 as 9. This time around, I'm going to see it as what? 3 raised to power 2. So let me write that. And I'm going to see 3 raised to power 2. Then I open this bracket again. X minus 1 by 2 equals to what? 3 raised to power x. Here my bases are what? Are the same, and once I can achieve that, I can strike them off. That is mathematics, the beauty of it for you. So I can strike them off if they are just exactly the same, both in the left hand side and the right hand side. And what do? I open this bracket. We're gonna have 2 into bracket x minus half equals to x. And what do? 2x minus 2 times half is 1 equals to x. And what do? I collect terms. So 2x minus x equals to minus 1 is coming here, so it changes to what? To plus 1. And this is just x equals to 1. And that's my result, which is what? Option B. Our next question. Alright, question 3 says solve the following simultaneous equation for x. Here I have x squared plus y equals minus 5 equals 0, and y minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. This is what we call what? Simultaneous linear and quadratic system of what? Equation. It's a simultaneous equation in which one of the equation is a quadratic equation. The second part is what? A linear equation. To solve this problem is not an issue. However, there is no 2 methods that can solve this more easily for you except what? By substitution method. So always think of substitution method when you have this system of what? Of equation. Let's see how it goes. So we say we have x squared plus y minus 5 equals 0, and we have y minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. So I call this equation 1, I call this equation 2. And from equation 2, which is the linear, please, in the system of linear quadratic equation, the linear one is always used to what? To be substituted into the non-linear one. So I make y the same formula, which is going to give what? 0 plus 7x minus 1, 3. And I'm literally bringing every other thing to the right hand side except y. And that is why they are changing sign. This is going to be what? 7x minus 3. And this is my what? Equation 3. Don't forget, I got equation 3 from what? From equation 2. And I can substitute back to what? To equation 2. So I take it into what? Equation 1. Say substituting equation 3 into what? Into equation 1. And what do you have? We're going to have x squared. So instead of writing y, what do I write? I write what? 7x minus 3. So I'm going to write plus 7x minus 3. Then minus this 5 minus 5 equals 0. I'll put this bracket. I have x squared plus 7x minus 3 minus 5 equals 0. Minus 5 minus 3 is what? Minus 8. So I have x squared plus 7x minus 8 equals 0. And here it is purely what? A quadratic equation. You see why we call it a simultaneous linear quadratic equation? Because it was linear here and it's purely what? A quadratic equation. And to solve this is not a problem. We can also go for our what? Factorization method. Don't forget how we go about it. You multiply this and this together, and this is giving you what? Minus 8x squared. Look at the factors of what? Minus 8x squared, which when you multiply together it gives you minus 8x squared, but when you add them together it gives you the middle value, which is what? Plus 7x. And this is very easy this time around, because you think of what? 8 and 1, 8 times 1 is 8, and 8 minus 1 is what? 7. So I'm going to use what? Minus 1x and what? And plus 8x. So I'm going to write x squared plus 8x minus x minus 8 equals 0. And with this, the first two and the last two in brackets. Here this time around, what is common? X is common. What am I left with? X plus 8. What is common here? Minus 1 is common. I have what? X plus 8 equals 0. Don't forget, as a rule of thumb, if your two brackets are not the same, there is a problem. And now we have them the same, so we can proceed to the next thing. The next thing is to bring out the two outside values together in one bracket and just pick one of the brackets. And in that case, we're going to have what? Just x minus 1 and what? X plus 8 equals 0. In this case, we are going to say x minus 1 equals 0 or x plus 8 equals 0. And if this is the statement, then x can be 1 or x can be what? Minus 8. This is just x and not what? And not y. So we need to find the value of what? Okay, the question says just find the value of x. So it's made it easier for us. We just go for what? X, which is what? 1, and x, which is what? Minus 8. So it can be minus 1 or minus 8. So this is the correct option for that question. And we go to the next question. Our next question says, find the value of x for which the fraction 2x raised to the power 2 plus 4 all over x squared plus 4x plus 3 is undefined. So when you hear a fraction is undefined, we are saying that the value of x for which all the denominator becomes 0. So let's see how to go about this. 0 is undefined in mathematics, so we are interpreting the question as if it asks us to find the value for which the denominator is what? Equals to 0. And as such, we begin approaching it by just writing only the denominator out. However, let me write everything out firstly. 2x raised to the power 2 plus 4 all by x squared plus 4x plus 3. If it's undefined, then don't forget the denominator must be 0. Imagine the question had asked you for which value of the fraction find the value of x for which the fraction will be 0. Then it will be what? Numerator you consider. Numerator for the fraction to be 0, denominator for the fraction to be what? Undefined. So here I'm just picking up what? The denominator. That's what? X squared plus what? 4x plus 3. And you say must be equals to 0. Simply because division by 0 is undefined in mathematics. And this is just literally solving what? A quadratic equation. And this time around, it has to be the same way, factorization method. I believe you should be used to it now. And you can just pause the video and just go through it and see if you are going to do exactly what you're going to have now. Alright, let's see how it works. So it's going to be x and 3x. You can see that coming, and that is x squared plus x plus 3x plus 3 equals 0. Because if you add these two together, you still get this, and if you multiply this together, you get this, and that is it. So I bring the first two and the last two, I put them in what? In brackets. And what is common? X plus 1 plus 3x plus 1, and that is what? 0. So I bring out the outside brackets, x plus 3 and what? X plus 1 equals 0. Here x is going to be what? Minus 3 or what? X equals to minus 1. So my answer has to be what? Minus 3 and minus 1. Those are the values of x that will make it what? Undefined, and that is option B. So the next question. And this question says if the function f is defined by a function of x plus 2 equals to 2x squared plus 7x minus 5, find function of minus 1. This is still what? Function and relation. And in this case, it is easier approach this way. So I was given a function, and I'm going to get this out again. It says function of x plus 2 equals to 2x squared plus 7x minus 5. Then we have to look for what? F of minus 1. If we literally look at this very, very carefully, we see that it's as if the whole of this bracket has become what? Minus 1. I repeat, it's as if the whole of this initial bracket of the function has turned to minus 1. Then to make that it's easy, so you say minus 1 is going to be equal to what? X plus 2. And we look for value of x for which that happens, and that is what? X equals to minus 1 minus 2. And this is what? X equals to minus 3. So if x is minus 3 in this equation, it will satisfy that problem or the statement. So let's put f of minus 3 and see what happens. So f of minus 3 becomes of what? 2 into minus 3 squared plus 7 into minus 3 minus 5. And this is going to be what? 2 into 9 plus, or rather minus 21 minus 5. And this is what? 18 minus 21 minus 5. Minus 21 minus 5 is what? Is minus 26. So it's 18 minus what? 26. And you know the solution to that? 18 minus 26 is simply what? Is simply 18 minus 26 minus 8. So our answer is simply what? Minus 8. So that is the solution for that. And B is the answer to that one. We go to the next one. Alright, question 36 says divide the expression x raised to power 3 minus 2x raised to power 2 minus x plus 2 by 1 plus x squared. This division of what? Of polynomials. So division of polynomials, let's see how that happens. So literally what I need to divide has to be inside, and what I'm using to divide has to be what? Outside. So I'm going to use this our long division method, and this is what? X raised to power 3 minus 2x squared minus x plus 2, and we are dividing it by what? By 1 plus x squared. So the first thing is to look at this maximum power here and look at the maximum power inside. Which one? What can we multiply by the maximum power here to give us just exactly the maximum power inside? It is simply going to be what? It's simply going to be x. So I'm going to have x, and x times this, I'm going to have what? S cubed minus, plus what? 2x. Sorry, it's okay. S cubed minus 2x, or just x. So it has to be plus x here. And this would have said, what do? I subtract both down from up, and I'm going to have what? This will go. Then I'm going to have minus 2x. Then this going to go also. I'm going to have plus what? 2. And what do? I say something has to divide again, and this time around there is no way because I have x squared here. There is a problem. Alright, question 36 is here, and it says divide the expression x raised to power 3 minus 2x squared minus x plus 2 by what? 1 plus x. And this is what? Polynomial division. And how do we go about it? We're going to write our x raised to power 3 minus 2x squared minus x plus 2 inside this, and we're going to write our what? 1 plus x outside. And the first thing is what? We look at what is the thing we can multiply by x to give us x cubed. The first value must be of utmost importance to us, and that is going to be what? X squared. X squared multiplied by x, it gives you x cubed. X squared multiplied by 1, it gives you what? X squared. So I write plus x squared. How do we cancel x cubed? Don't forget the aim is to eliminate this completely. So we subtract. So if you subtract, this x cubed minus x cubed goes, then you have nothing. Then 2x squared minus x squared will give you what? Minus 3x squared. Then you can drop the remaining minus x plus 2. Next, what do? We say, what do we multiply by minus 3x squared? So we go for question 36. Says divide the expression x raised to power 3 minus 2x squared minus x plus 2 by 1 plus x. And here we do this. We're going to write this x raised to power 3 minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. We're going to write our 1 plus x out. So what is it? What is the thing we multiply by x to give us x cubed? That has to be x squared. So that's our first factor, x squared. We write x squared and use it to multiply everything. So x squared multiplied by 1 is what? Is x squared. We're not going to write the other x cube, we'll write the other one, x squared. X squared multiplied by what? X is what? S cubed. So it is x cubed plus x squared. And how do we eliminate this? We subtract. So if we subtract, this goes, and we're going to have 2x squared minus what? X squared. Because this minus times this plus will turn to what? Minus. And that becomes what? Minus 3x squared. Minus x plus 2. Next is what? Next is looking at what we can multiply by x to give us minus 3x, and that becomes what? Plus 3x. And we multiply that, 3x multiplied by x will give us what? 3x squared. 3x multiplied by 1 is what? Is 3x plus 3x. I will write it under this x. And we ask ourselves, how do we eliminate this? By addition, obviously. If we add them together, this will go, minus we cancel plus, then minus this plus this will give me what? Plus 2x. Then plus, I drop this down, 2. What can we multiply with this to give us total elimination of that? And this is going to be what? This is going to be plus 2. That's going to be what? Plus 2. So we say plus 2. 2 times 1 is 2. So I write it under this 2. 2 times x is what? 2x. And if I subtract this, what happens? This goes, this goes. So there is no remainder and such. This is going to be my what? My factor. So my answer is going to be x squared plus 3x plus 2. And that is option D. Next question. So our next question says, evaluate integral of. So it's an integral calculus. And let's see how that works. We also call it what? Integration. It is integral of 2, 1. That is going to be 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. And dx. Don't forget when it has to do with what? Integration. It is this way. This is a definite integral because the boundaries are given, the upper boundary and the lower boundary. And we just simply say your solution is going to be 3x raised to power 2, then you add it with 1, then you now divide by the what? By the new power, and that's going to be what? 2 plus 1 minus 2x raised to power 1 plus 1, because there was 1 here, then I increase it by 1 all over 1 plus 1 plus 1. Don't forget, this one was what? X raised to power 0. So I write x raised to power 0 plus 1 all over 0 plus 1. It is a definite integral, so I put my what? Boundary conditions. And with this, I'm going to have 3x raised to power 3 all by 3 minus 2x squared all by 2 plus what? X. And then what do I have? 2, 1. 3 cancels 3, 2 cancels 2. I'm going to have what? X raised to power 3 minus x squared plus x with a boundary condition of what? 2 and 1. How do we deal with the boundary condition? We put the 2 and we see how it works. When it is 2, it becomes 2 raised to power 3 minus 2 squared plus what? 2. And when it is what? When it is 1 minus the lower boundary. So when it is 1, I put it here. It becomes 1 raised to power 3 minus what? 1 squared plus 1. And let's see how that works. This is going to be 8 minus 4 plus 2. And this is going to be what? 6 equals to 6 minus, this is going to be 1 minus 1 plus 1, and this is going to be what? Minus 1. So this is going to be 6 minus 1, and the answer is what? Is 5. So the correct option here is what? Is option A. Next question. Question 28 says solve the inequality. So it's an inequality problem, and let's solve that. So it's an inequality problem, and it says y squared minus 3y greater than 18. Y squared minus 3y is greater than 18. When you have a quadratic inequality problem like this, you literally allow the inequality sign, you use it momentarily as a positive sign. When you get your result, you can test. So let's say we are assuming that what this y squared minus 3y is equals to 0. Don't forget, it is an assumption for simplicity. It is an assumption for simplicity. Equals to 18, right? I don't mind. And I bring 18 here, it becomes y squared minus 3y minus 18 equals 0. What are the factors of 18 that you can have minus 3 down here? It's going to be what? Y squared minus 6y plus 3y minus 18 equals 0. Add these two together, get minus 3y. And in this case, I bring the first two and the last two in brackets. And what happens? What is common? It is y and it is what? Y minus 6. And what is common? It is plus 3 and it is y minus 6. And this is 0. Don't forget the two brackets must be what? Must be the same. And as such, you bring out the outside ones together, y plus 3, then one of the brackets, y minus 6. And this is going to be equals 0 for the meantime. Then what do you say? You say y plus 3 equals 0 or y minus 6 equals 0. This is supposed to be the way your quadratic equation would have worked. But this is not going to be our result. When we go to this our last stage, we change back to our what? To our sign. Don't forget I said it was an assumption made for simplicity. So we do what? We just return our greater than sign. It is greater than sign, and you can say y plus 3 is greater than 0 or y minus 6 is greater than 0. So if y plus 3 is greater than 0, then you can say what? What is the implication? It implies that what? Y is greater than minus 3. Or the other way you can say minus 3 is less than y. Here it means that what? Y is greater than what? Than 6. Because if you bring minus 6 here, it becomes what? Plus 6. And what are your combination of results? You start from the minimum and end at the maximum. That is minus 3 less than y less than your pardon. So it has to be minus 3 less than y and y is less than 6. And that is going to be, or y is greater than 6. Minus 3 is less than y or y is greater than 6. So it's either you call y is greater than minus 3 or y is greater than 6. And that combination is going to be what? It's going to be C. So C is the right option. Y is either greater than what? 3 or y is either greater than minus 3 or y is greater than 6. So the correct combination that gives us the result is what? Is option C. Next. So question 39, what is f of 3? If f of x is what? X squared minus 3x plus 2. So it's very similar to one of the problems we solved previously, but still, let's do justice to this particular one. So we have function of 3. We are looking for, we do not know, but we're told that what? Function of x is equal to what? X squared minus 3x plus 2. Here, what is it? Just put 3 into this, and we're going to have function of what? Function of 3 is anywhere you see x, put 3. 3 raised to the power 2 minus 3 times 3 plus 2. This is 9 minus what? 9 plus 2. And this is literally going to be what? 2. So the correct option there is D, 2. Next question. And our next question is 40. The ratio of the slice of two similar triangles is what? 2:4. Find the ratio of their respective area. So this is a ratio problem, and don't forget, when you have the ratio of side, the ratio of the area is just the square of the ratio of side. If ratio of side is 3:4, then the ratio of area is going to be what? 3:4 all squared. And the ratio of volume is equals to what? 3 to 4 all cube. This is how the relationship works for similar shapes. So we are only interested in the area. So it's going to be 3:4 all squared. And that's going to be what? 9:16. So we look at what? 9:16, which is what? C. C is the right option. Our next question. Question 41. And it says, if k plus 1, 2k minus 1, and what? 3k plus 1 are 3 consecutive terms of a GP, then find the possible values of what? Of the common ratio. We know that for a GP, the ratio, common ratio is what? Either second term over first term, or which is still the same thing as saying what? Third term over what? Second term, or you say the fourth term over third term. So we are only restricted because we have first, second term. We have only 3 terms. So let's make use of this relation. Here I put in my second term, which is what? 2k minus 1 all over the first term, which is what? K plus 1 must be equal to what? The third term, which is 3k plus 1 all by what? The second term, 2k minus 1. So if you do this very well, you're going to cross multiply. So when I cross multiply, what do I have? I'm going to have 2k minus 1, 2k minus 1 equals to 3k plus 1, k plus 1. And what is it? You multiply this out, you're going to have 4k squared plus 4k, minus 4k rather, minus 4k, then plus 1 equals to, if you open this, you're going to have 3k squared plus what? Plus 4k plus 1. And what happens? You can collect terms. Don't forget I told you, since we have the same thing both right and left hand side, what do? You can cancel the plus 1 and plus 1. Because literally if you take them to any of the side, they are literally going to go off the equation. So we're going to have 4k squared minus 4k. Then I bring this minus 3k squared plus minus 4k. Left behind is what? 0. So I collect terms. 4k squared minus 3k squared is going to be what? K squared. Minus 4k minus 4k is what? Minus 8k. This is 0. Then you factorize. What is common? K is common. Then you say k minus 8 equals 0. So it's either your k is equals to 0 or your k equals to 8, because you're going to bring minus 8 to this side to give you 8. Those are the values of k. However, question never asks for the what? For k. Question asks for what? For common ratio. K is just a value. Then let's ask ourselves, if k is 0, what will the common ratio be? Don't forget, we say our common ratio can be any of these terms. So I write R is what? T2, or I can just say R equals to T2 over T1. And in this case, if k equals 0, what should be my R? R in that case will be T2, which is what? 0 plus 1, 2 times 0 minus 1, all by k plus 1, that's 0 plus 1. And this is simply going to be what? 0 minus 1 over 1, and that is minus 1. That's the first value of R when k equals to 0. Now let's check what happens if k equals to 8. If k equals to 8, we can still use the same ratio, and this means that what? My R is going to be what? 2 into 8 minus 1, all by what? 8 plus 1. And this is going to be what? 16 minus 1, all by 9. And this 15 by 9. And if you cut this down, it's going to be the same as what? As 5 by 3. So your values can be either minus 1 or 5 over 3 for common ratio. And the right option there is what? Is option B. Next question. So we have question 42, and it says, find the other angle of a triangle if one of the supplementary angles of the triangle is what? 155 degrees. what are supplementary angles? These are angles that add up to what? To 180 degrees. We'll be given one of it to be 155 degrees. You just look for which, if you remove 155 from what? 180, what answer do you have? And that's literally going to be what? 25 degrees, and that is going to be what? Your option D. So option D is the correct one for what? 42. Question 42. That's option D. Next question. Our next question is what? 43. Says quantities in the proportion 1, 4, 6, 7 are to be represented in a pie chart. Calculate the angle of the what? Of the sector with the proportion 7. It's very similar to a ratio problem. This time around, we ask, what is the total proportion? Total proportion is going to be 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus what? 7. And this simply what? 18. So the proportion with 7 is going to take a ratio of 7 out of 18 multiplied by the total angle in a what? In a pie chart, that is 360 multiplied by 360 degrees. And with this, we do it, it's just say 7 by 360 divided by 18, and that is simply what? 140 degrees. So the correct option is what? Option D. Next question. Our next question has to do with statistics, and says the bar chart above shows the distribution of mass in a class test. How many students took the test? We simply look at all the bars and we record individually what we have, then we add them up all together. So let's see what we're going to come up with, and this is going to be, you can see the first bar chart there has to do with what? 2. You say plus, the next bar chart is what? 5 plus 5 plus the next bar chart there is what? Is 3. So 3 plus the next bar chart there is what? Is 4. 4 plus the next bar chart there is what? Is 3 again. 3 plus the next bar chart is what? Is 1. 1 plus the last bar chart is 2. So it is 2 here. So let's add this up together. 2 plus 5 is what? Is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14. Plus 3 is what? 17. Plus 3 is what? 20. Means we have what? Total number of people that took the test were what? 20, which is option B. Next question. Our next question says the following marks were obtained by 20 students in an examination. Find the number of students who scored at least 15 marks. And at least 15 marks is just what? For us to know that they can score more than 50 marks. But people that score below 50 marks cannot be considered in this our group A. So we start looking at them, how many of them scored more than 50 marks. So let's say each one I get, I put a tally on. So the first one is 53, which is more than 50 marks. So I give it one tally. The second one is 70, another tally. Next one is 84, another tally. 59, another tally. 90, another tally. 78, another tally. 48, we cannot consider that because it is far less than what? 50. So 60, another tally. 80, another 81 rather, another tally. 73, another tally. It says at least 50, so we consider 50 itself, another tally. And 67, another tally. 68, another tally. 64, another tally. And 52, another tally. So we just count the number of tallies we have and we add them up. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we just have 14 tallies, and those are the number of students that scored above 50 marks or 50 marks and above. And that is just what? Option D, 14. Next question. Alright, the next question says find the area of the sector of the circle with radius 3 meters if the angle of the sector is what? 60 degrees. And we know area of what? Of sector is given as what? Theta over 360 multiplied by what? By pi r squared. That's area of sector. So let's see. This is the area of the sector, and this time around we'll give theta to what? 60 degrees all over 360 degrees times pi is what? 3 pi is 22 over 7 times what? 3 square, that is 3 times 3, that is 3 square, and this is going to be what? 1 over 6 times 22 times 9 all over multiplied by 7, or let me say 6 by 7. And if you do this very well, let's see what the result is going to look like. So 22 multiplied by 9 divided by 42, and this is going to be what? 4.71, approximately 4.7 meter squared, 4.71 meter squared, and that is going to be what? Option C. So C is the correct option for that question. Next question. 47. The angle between latitude 30 degrees south and what? 13 degrees north is what? This is a latitude problem. In mathematics, if places are on different latitude, we always add their latitudinal difference to be the angle. However, if they are on the same latitude, we subtract, a positive difference. So in this time around, we have what? 30 degrees south and what? 13 degrees north. So our theta is going to be addition, because one is in the north, the other one is in the south. If both were to be in the south or in the pole, we would have subtracted the smaller one from the bigger one. But in this case, we have to just add up because they are in different sides of the pole. So we're going to say 30 plus 13, and this is going to be what? 43 degrees. So the simple answer there is what? Option C. So question 48 is next, and it says if sin theta is cos 0, find theta between 0 degrees and 360 degrees. This is very simple. We ask ourselves, for which of the angles is sin theta is going to be what? Cos 0. You know cos 0 is 1. So sin 90 is 1. Good. What of sin minus 270? It is also what? 1. That is very correct. So these two pairs are good for us, so we don't have to worry ourselves, because our correct option is what? It's option A. Next question. And the next questions gave us some statistical table, and I can have to replicate that for better visibility. And we have something like this. So we have the weights, and we have the number of coconuts, and here we have from 0 to 10, from 10 to 20, from 20 to 30, and from 30 to 40, from 30 to 40, and from 40 to 50. So we have the frequency 10, 27, 19, 6, and what? 2. The question says find the mode of the frequency distribution. Mode, this is a kind of what? Grouped data. The data are what? Are grouped. And to find the mode of a group data, we use this formula. Mode equals to L plus, open a bracket, F1 minus F0 all over 2F1 minus F0 minus F2, then times what? Times H, where H is your what? Is your class weight. Let's say the sounds one after the other. L here is what? Is the lower class of the modal group. So what is the modal group? Is the group that has the highest frequency, and that is obviously the highest frequency is 27, and the modal group becomes what? 10 to 20. What is the lower boundary of that group? The lower boundary of that group, L, is going to be what? The 10. Which means we're going to write 10 for L. So then what is the frequency? F1 is the frequency of what? Of the modal class. So we write F1, which you know is what? 27. And F0 is what? Is just the frequency of the class before the modal class. So it is what? F0 equals to frequency of the what? Of the class before the modal class, and that is going to be what? That is what? Simply 10. What of F1? F1 is what? Sorry, beg your pardon, we've said F1 is the frequency of the modal class. F2 is what? Is the frequency of the class after the modal class, and that is simply what? 19. And H is the class width. So if you subtract 20, 10 minus 20 is going to be the width, which is what? Simply 10. So we put this into the formula, and we're going to write mode is going to be L, which is 10 plus open bracket F1, which is what? Which is 27 minus F0, which is what? Which is 10, all by 2 times F1, that's 2 times 27 minus what? F0 minus 10 minus 19, all multiplied by what? By 10. And with this, we're going to have it as 10 plus open bracket. This is going to be what? This is going to be 17 times 10 is going to be what? 170. This is going to be 54. 54 minus 10 minus 19, that's 54, minus 29, and this is what? Simply 25. So you say 170 divided by 25, and that is simply 6.8. So our answer is going to be 10 plus 6.8, and that is what? 16.8. And the answer there is going to be option C. Option C is the correct answer for 49. And 50. Question 50 says, evaluate 0.36 times 5.4 times 0.63, all divided by what? 4.2 times 9 times what? 2.4. Correct to two significant figures. So we're literally going to multiply the numerator, then multiply the denominator, then we simplify all together. Then don't forget the instruction says to two significant figures. So let's do just that. So it's going to be 0.36 times 5.4 times 0.63, all divided by 4.2 times 9 times 2.4. But we bring out our calculator and we can do that. 0.36 times 5.4 times 0.63, and this is going to be 1.22472. Please, in this case, you write out all the decimal places out firstly. So the denominator 4.2 multiplied by 9.9 rather times 2.4, and this is going to be 90.72. So we simply say 1.22472 divided by our 90.72, and this is going to be give us what? 0.0135. This is the answer. However, the question says to two significant figures. What is the meaning of significant figure? Significant figure are numbers that are not zero at the beginning. Mind you, must be at the beginning. So we have to say this is 0, this is 0, this is the first significant figure. The next significant figure is what? Is 3. And as such, we have to round this 5 up to 3, and it's giving what? 4. And this is going to be 0.014 into two significant figures. So the correct option is what? Is option B.